What's up, y'all? It's KB, and I love movies. And today I am representing the RAD PACK. As the RAD PACK manager, it's Halloween, and I figured what a better time than today to go ahead and tell you my RAD 9 challenge for what scared me. Most of these will be childhood memories, but there is one that scared me as an adult, so I'm just going to throw that in anyway. So, number one, the first movie that I can remember, I was at the age of 5, and I would stay up or sneak out of bed to watch those Saturday night, midnight monster movies, and they would give you the variety of Dracula and Frankenstein and all that, all which scared me as a kid, but the one that stayed with me was Vincent Price in The House of Wax. Something about it, things appearing to be inanimate and then moving, or eyes following you, kind of like that famous painting with eyes follow you. There was just something that stayed with me about that movie, and even years later when I think about it sometimes, just shudder and just remember that initial feeling of seeing it and what it did to me as a little kid. So, House of Wax. The next one that I could remember was, I had to be about 9 or 10, and same situation, but probably early in the day, one of those independent channels that they would have in New York showed a famous, now infamous movie called Blackula. And by that time I had encountered Dracula several times, different iterations. So it wasn't really that entire movie. For those of you that don't know, it is not about a black Dracula, but it's about a count who basically gets bitten by Dracula and then finds a doppelganger and blah, 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 blah of his woman. Anyway, so there's a famous scene where a woman is running down the hallway, but the way the camera is set up, it looks like she's running right at you. And that scared the living daylights out of me as a kid, because it, picture like The Ring or something like that. For a 9-10-year-old, I really thought she was gonna run out of my TV and run right into me. Like, I just thought that was not a part of the movie, and it was really happening, and it really got to me. So the second one is Blackula. For the third one, and I'm sure a lot of people have mentioned this, they probably saw it on VHS or DVD when they got older, but I was about 8 or 9, and I had cousins that would take me places, and we would sneak into movies and all that stuff from an early age, single digits. So we would get left off to go see like a Disney movie and end up seeing something we shouldn't be seeing. And for me, that was The Exorcist. So it was a theatrical re-release, and didn't see the whole thing because we snuck in the middle of it. And it was right about the time when Reagan got really explicit with a crucifix, and we kept hiding in the bathroom and coming back, hiding in the bathroom, because back then we had these things called ushers, and their job was to literally make sure nobody was doing anything they shouldn't do in the theater, and also making sure people had tickets for the right show, and definitely in a rated R movie like that there were no little kids. So we were ducking ushers and basically catching pieces of The Exorcist, and I caught the part where her head turned around and rising off the bed, all that good stuff. But yeah, I've mentioned several times that it wasn't really Reagan herself, but the makeup just stays with me. Even to today, if I go to a con or something and I turn a corner, or I go by someone's house and I don't know, and I turn and they have a life-size Reagan there, you know who you are. And yeah, it still gets me a little just makes me shiver. So anyway, The Exorcist. For the next one, I'm going to take you to 1979, 1980, around that time. So I'm about 9-10 years old, and there's this lovely 2-part series by new famous author named Stephen King coming on CBS, Channel 2 New York, and it was called Salem's Lot. Kids were talking about it at school, really excited to see it, didn't really know what it was about. They just saw like something that looked spooky, and we knew that David Soul was in it, Starsky and Hutch, Don't Give Up on Us Baby, 45, that whole thing. So we wanted to see it. It was quite boring, I think, as a little kid, but also kind of scary because we were waiting for something to happen, and then when something happened, it really scared us. So, and the thing is, we came back for night 2. They broke it up into 2 different nights, and we came back for night 2. So we were scared, but we also wanted more. So next one is Salem's Lot. I'm gonna jump ahead for this next one. About age 16, 17. So this is your video store days. This is after I've gotten into horror full time. So all the famous slashers, your Nightmare on Elm Street, your Friday the 13th. And I have a cousin, shout out to you, Sean, and we used to watch all kinds of movies. I'll just leave it at that at the age of 17. And we got into watching a bunch of horror movies where we would try to watch something scarier and scarier to try to spook either one of us out, you know, kind of like doing a tap out of sorts. So I remember that day we watched a whole bunch of movies, and we got to the third movie. I remember the second one was Faces of Death 2, or Faces of Death, can't remember. But the third movie was this movie called Demons. And I don't know what it was about that movie, but when they got to the theater part, I looked at him, I could tell he was shook. He looked at me, you could tell I was shook. And he just said, "Turn it off. Turn it off now." And I did, because I was scared too. So that scene in Demons just, I don't know what it is. It just spooked us that day. And I have to say, I don't think I've seen the whole thing beginning to end, even though, you know, we've had a couple of different releases on physical media, but I've yet to see Demons, much more Demons 2, from beginning to end. So Demons. About a year later, I would say the next movie that really creeped me out was The Serpent and the Rainbow. I know you're thinking, really not a scary movie? But not to go into the whole religious overtones and everything, but we had a little turnover of our neighborhood, and there were people who truly practiced voodoo moving into my neighborhood at the time when this movie was popular and out on video and all that. And I watched it, and it was just too much correlation for me, and it really spooked me. So here I am, you know, 18, and I'm getting spooked because all of a sudden it played more like a documentary than anything else to me. Like, yo, this is real. This is like really happening in the building next door to me. So, you know, people would leave things out like bowls with chicken feet in it and all kind of stuff, or orange with it. Anyway, voodoo being practiced in real life, voodoo on my screen, spooked me out, scared me a little bit. Age didn't matter, Serpent and the Rainbow got to me. For number 7, we're gonna go to a movie I actually love, and I recently rewatched, and once it got to the parts that really scared me, they didn't scare me now, you know, grown man, but it really brought back those feelings of what really scared me when I first watched it, and that's Pet Sematary, 1989's Pet Sematary to be exact. And the scenes where they're retelling about the sister, yeah, when I watched it again, I was like, yeah, this is what got to me. This really spooked me out, really scared me. But it's a good movie. Church is cute. It's the reason I got a cat in my residence hall, even though we weren't supposed to have pets. Gage was cute, even when he was slashing feet. So, you know, yeah, but the story about the sister, man, and hearing it, and if you got the 4K, that sound moves around now, and it just came rushing back to me. So this was a late entry to the list, but I had to add it because, yeah, that part of Pet Sematary really scared me. And now for the last one is a recent one that I watched, about 10 years or so. I always say the subgenre of horror that really scares me to today is home invasion, because it's the one that could really happen. So, if you're talking home invasion, you're either talking E.T. or you're talking The Strangers. And the reason and how it happened and everything like that really, really bothered me. And it really, really stayed with me. And it's somewhere up there. So I really loved the movie, but it really scared me. The simplicity of it really scared me. And the reality that something like that could happen to any of us in our homes anytime scares me to today. So that's my 9. Shout out to the RAD Pack. Shout out to Garrett and Justin, and of course, my little sis, Mel. Thank you for putting out this challenge to the community. And as I always say, go watch a movie.
KB, you gotta put Jaws in there.